If the usual trajectory of embattled cricket teams is for every man to start playing for himself, England can look to the positive example of their 150 Test houri, Alastair Cook. Values, on and off the field. Playing the game as it should be played, and conducting himself properly after dark. England don't need to look outside their changing room. Their guiding star is sitting quietly in the corner. For 12 years, Cook has mastered cricket's balancing act of an individual game within a team context. In Perth, he returns to the scene of his first Ashes century, a second innings 116 amid the whitewash of 2006-07. Although it was Cook's fourth Test 100 before his 22nd birthday, those Australians were not overly worried about him. With his pronounced back foot lunge, he was perceived as a potential nicker. Glenn McGrath, Stuart Clark and Brett Lee had him caught behind off-full pitched balls 6 times in a series that was, outside of Perth, a poor one for Cook. 4 years later, Cook still had the premeditated back foot move, and the Australians had kept him in check in England in 2009. But this same Cook bled the Australian landscape dry, amassing 766 runs with 3 centuries, the batting spearhead for their only Ashes victory on Australian soil in the past 3 decades. Cook's technique was unchanged, but an inexperienced home attack did what nervous bowlers do, bowling a conservative shorter length into his wheelhouse of cuts and pulls. They also lacked patience and control, drifting onto his pads, where he has punished bowlers worldwide for 12 years. For the most prolific opening batsman in Test history, Cook has had an unusual weakness. He only plays the off drive with the greatest reluctance, which means that bowlers can loop half volleys at the off stump with impunity. Balls that are a gift to most batsmen, and therefore against bowlers' instincts, are either patted back, poked at or, in Cook's preference, left alone. He made a career out of winning the patience game, waiting for bowlers to put the ball where he wanted it, out of frustration or poor execution dropping it short where he has always been able to dispatch it with ease. Mitchell Johnson speculated this week that Cook had lost his fire, but he certainly had a sharp look in Adelaide. When Australia bowled in his zones, he was effective as ever until Nathan Lyon, his latter-day nemesis, had him tentatively driving, at an off-stump half-volley. Cook still has the fire to dominate lesser bowling. 2 months ago, he made a 10-hour 243 against the West Indies at Edgbaston. His weakness has never been mental or emotional. Technically, he invites a plan of attack that Australian bowlers have pursued successfully series after series. When the ball is released, Cook is camped on his stumps at the same depth as the much-dissected Peter Hadscomb. As England have bowled to Hadscomb, so have Australia bowled to Cook. Aside from the 2010-11 series, Australia have kept his average to 27.17 in 52 innings. His strength has always been his temperamental fortitude. Several of his current teammates appear incapable of following his example off the field, but on it, he still has the ability to inspire them.